is Sunday morning, August the 14th, I believe. Yep. Got up this morning, changed the oil in the daily driver Corolla because I have a 80 mile each way, 160 mile commute to work. So there's roly poly oly. Changed the oil in that. Now on to the good stuff. If you call laying under this car, cutting out part of the rear frame rail, the good stuff, but it's time for the good stuff. So let me move crap out of the way so I can get to work. I guess at some point I need to dump my oil pan into my big bucket, maybe even take the bucket to AutoZone, recycle it. The He Hate Me power plant. The 4.8 me. 4.8. Over there. Alright, hopefully that doesn't fall off. Maybe wrapping it with a towel will help. Why is it so hot outside? I thought today was supposed to be cooler. Okay, so what I'll be doing is cutting that out to make clearance for the slider. Right now the slider is touching it, so it probably needs to be in here somewhere, so I think that's going to be good. I need to get the square, trace this line on the bottom, get the death wheel, and lay on the ground and grind all that stuff into my face, because that's the way I like it. Good, everybody good? Everybody's understanding of the plan. That's the plan. Damn, I'm butchering this side. God dog, I butchered that side. Oh well, nothing the grinder can't fix. The crapper flapper can fix that. Hello. How to make that adjustable. can't mount to that because it's already higher than that, so it's going to come off my truss. Truss comes back down, so I can run a tube down the plate. I guess I have to use spacers. So I've got 3 holes. So we need 6 1-inch plates with these holes drilled through it. This way. Yep, I'm still pretty damn close, 26.5. Alright, so if I put my truss on, my truss goes back like this and down. I have a bar that comes off the cross member to mount that plate. That would be super strong if I took some 2x3 tubing, drilled a hole through it, and put on that cross member. That would be super strong. Especially if I could taper it up and come up above it and cap it off. Or just put a cap on the top of it. So then with no spacers, that probably. Okay, let's listen to the ramblings of a crazy person. Why am I crazy? Because number one, I'm building a 62 Falcon with leaf springs rather than just buying a clip and putting ladder bars or a 4-link in it, which by this point would have been a lot easier. But you know, I gotta be me. I gotta do something different. So what we're looking at, we're looking at a slider box. I think it needs a little more angle. It's got to match the angle from the eyelet in the back to the eyelet in the front. That's no big deal. So what I'm thinking, set you guys up on my lap. Sit in Daddy's lap. Okay. So what I'm thinking is I have that truss that I've built. Comes off here, comes back. What was that? Okay, comes back, goes down to the rear frame. Follow along here, down. It's got a little stub right in here somewhere. Then it has a cross member back here. So I'm thinking of doing is taking some 2x3 tubing, drill a hole with a hole saw through it, stick it over the cross member so it'll be super strong. It'll be through the cross member. Then get this angle right, put a plate on it, bolt this to the plate. Okay. Then, if I remember right, I've measured the hole centers on my front mounts. And for some reason, they're not even 2 of them. There's 2 different hole spaces. I think 1 and then 1 and 1/8, which is no big deal. So I'll need 3 spacers, or whatever those are, like 3 1-inch spacers, or a 1-inch and 2 1 1/8, whatever those hole spacings are. So right now this is high up as it can go. This car will be riding as low as it could go without putting lowering blocks in it. So there's probably going to be 2 holes down. The first one up from the bottom. That way I'll have 1 lower, 2 higher. So I put 2 spacers in, space this down. Space this down equally as the front goes. I don't know if this is overkill, overthinking it, making it way more complicated than it needs to be. We could also make little shims, you know, little 16 gauge or 10 gauge or something like 1/8 inch shims, and can raise and lower this independently of the front and change the pinion angle without putting shims under the axle. I don't know if that's worth it or not, but that is one other thing I could do. Again, these are the ramblings of a madman. You think, oh, it's leaf springs, oh, it's going to be easy. It's not. But if you want to put leaf springs in a Falcon, use 2x3 tubing. Actually use 2x3 frame rails from S&W. Have a tubing bender. You'll be able to follow this recipe and know what to do. Now I have to see how tall my truss is. I have truss issues. So, another day at the Schofield Motorsports garage, trying to figure out how to make something that evidently nobody else has made before. Alright, so here's one of my extra plates. They have 1 1/8 inch, 1 1/8 an inch for some reason. But it's neither here nor there. So I think to make it simpler, can you see that? I'll get 1 inch plate to space it down, 1 inch plate to space it down, 1 inch plate to space it down, and 1/8 inch, 2 1/8 inch plates. To that way I can get 3 inch plates laid out with holes, or I'll do it myself. I'll probably buy a drill press if I'm gonna drill through inch plate, but I'm probably gonna have somebody fabricate it for me, so I don't have to drill through inch plate. So I'd have to have 3 inch plates times 2, 6 inch plates, 4 1/8 inch plates. I'd probably also want a 1/4 or 3/8 plate for the top mount that'll mount to the roll bar. And then what I'm thinking of doing, of course this is my practice piece from notching the front frame. What I'm thinking of doing is hole sawing this, and it'll slide onto my cross member back there on the halo brace, and then the plate would weld, more like this, the plate would weld to the bottom of it, the slider would bolt to this. Take a look. That's my thought anyway. You can see I made clearance. I'll box that back in once I figure out exactly where that goes. 2x3 tubing, have a hole in it, slide over this, plate on the bottom, bolt to that, and spacers to space it down to match the spacing of the bracket up front. And then just easy as pie, I have adjustable leaf spring heights. Nothing to it. It's only taken me like 6 months to figure all this out, but you know, tag along. I need more viewers. Subscribe, like, stomp on the loud pedal, and like the video. Even if you don't like it, just like it anyway. I need you to like it. I need more subscribers. Everybody that's got a YouTube channel needs subscribers. Help me make money off of this mess. It's costing me a lot of money. Maybe I should make money. So we'll roll with that. Thanks. And I'm closing my eyes, so don't freak out. I didn't have my PPE on. So I need to cope, grind this out a little bit. The tube is hitting here. I'll be back. Alright, what's up everybody? Back Sunday afternoon. Been working on getting the leaf spring slider, a notch cut out in the frame rail to clear it, and then trying to figure out where it is going to mount. I think I've gotten a good idea on all of these things. So if you look down here, there's the notch. What is it, the slider? Oh, it's on the ground. I think the leaf spring, actually when there's weight on the car, I bet the eye is back past the bolt on the C-clamp. I think that leaf spring can probably flatten out about 3 inches. Of course, it won't be flat, but it will flatten out some. One thing I thought of too is this leaf spring is for a factory Falcon, 62 Falcon. This is Calvert. This is what they call for. So cross member from this side to this side. I'm gonna make the mount. I'm gonna take a piece of 2x3 tubing. I'm gonna drill a saw a hole through it. It'll slide over this cross member, so it won't be able to come off. Might be able to break loose, but it won't come off. I will have a plate like a foot on the bottom of it that'll be drilled for the slider box to mount with some bolts. The front mount, you can see up there past the towel, right now it's in the very top hole. So the car, if it were sitting on the axles, would be as low as it could possibly be without using lowering blocks. So a lot of people use lowering blocks. My thought on lowering blocks is you're spacing the axle away from the leaf spring. You're starting to really leverage on your on that block, on the leaf spring purchase, on the leaf or the U-bolts. So I mean, if I have to get it where I want, I wouldn't feel any problem putting a 1 or maybe even a 2-inch lowering block in the car, but any more than that, I'd be kind of worried. That's kind of getting excessive. So I want to make the car adjustable, adjust the right height. There's another video on my channel of my 83 Regal my brother and I built. One thing that always bothered us about that, we were young and dumb and drunk half the time doing it. We basically took that from a street legal car to a full back half car with the cage in 9 days. Basically 3 weekends, basically 6 full days and 3 half days, because basically we'd start after work at 5 o'clock on Friday night, work till 1 or 2 in the morning, get back up, be back down at the shop at 6 or 7 in the morning on Saturday, work all day Saturday to 1 or 2 in the morning, get back up, work all day Sunday to 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And we did that 3 weekends. The one thing that always we kind of messed up on is the roll bar down tubes set on top of the tubs instead of inside the tubs. We didn't make the frame rails narrow enough, and didn't make the main hoop down bars to the back. We should have pinched them in or moved them inboard. So the tubs were really low in the car. Car's kind of jacked up in the back. It was great. It was a 3,700 pound car with me in it, and it would have cut 136, 137 60-foot times on a gravel road. I mean, it was great, but we always thought, man, it would just look better if it set lower. Of course, it may have run like shit, so it's not always about looking better. So on this one, I've got the frame rails inboard. I can run about at least a 12.5-inch tire is what I've got it set up for. Car should be fairly light. So after I notched out the frame rails, I think the leaf spring box will sit back here somewhere, about like that. So when I have this cross member coming across, and I have that piece of tubing come off, that 2x3 tubing, there'll be a plate, and then I'll get basically 1-inch spacers to space the back down equally to the front when I put it down in another hole. I think that's going to be the easiest way to make this adjustable. I'll go back in once I confirm everything. I'll go back in and plate the frame where I cut it out, fill that back in, weld it up. Of course, the truss is really supporting this, so this thinned out piece of frame is not going to be. So back here, what I'll do is I'll have the mounting plate. Then the next hole is 1 1/8 inches down, so I'll have 1 inch 1.1 inch plate as a spacer. This next hole's 1.1 inch down, so another 1.1 inch spacer. And then the third hole is another 1.1 inch. Well, actually, the first two holes are 1.1 inch apart. The last hole is, for some reason, only 1 inch, so then 1 inch. So what I may do is have 3, just to make it easier, either on myself or pay somebody to do it, is make 3 1-inch plates and 2 1/8 inch plates that are probably going to have these 4 outer bolt holes. Bolt the slider bracket to it. If I ever adjust the height of the car, unbolt it. Lower the slider bracket, either add or take out spacers so it can match the front. Just something I figured I'd do, since I'm not in a big hurry to get this car done because of time and money. Might as well make it the way I want to make it, and if it just takes longer, it just takes longer. It's not going to kill me or break my heart. Alright, well, that's the update. Like the video, recommend it to your friends, and subscribe, and we'll see you around for the next video. Thanks, guys.